Trinity unable to close in, but Golia. And now we see a streaking dunk by Aaron Westbrooks.
That'll get the crowd excited.
Nearly a 5-point swing there against Williams. Golia missing that wide open three. Trinity running up court, finishing off with an easy dunk.
And a foul here called against Trinity's Aaron Westbrooks. Second personal, team 7th. So Williams will go to the line. Down by 6, right at the 8-minute mark here of the first half. Amherst advanced in the first game of our semifinal doubleheader, defeating Colby 82-55. We'll talk at the half with Amherst point guard Andrew Olson.
In the running for the Bob Cousy Award. Olson, I've watched him for the last 2-3 years. Just incredible skill he possesses.
We saw it today. I mean, electrifying assists, and you don't get to say those two words together very often.
If you want to compare him to anybody who plays basketball, I would say Steve Nash, and I don't think that would be a very unfair comparison on either end because he makes spectacular passes. He can drop the shots when he wants to, but he's always a pass-first type point guard.
Shalvoy misses the second after making the first, and Stephen Dunn into the game gets the rebound. It's Dunn, Russ Martin, Patrick Martin, Kino Clarke, and Paul Rowe on the floor right now for Trinity, and there's a turnover at midcourt coming back the other way. Snyder one-on-one over Patrick Martin for 2, and they're going to call a foul.
Looked more like a ticky-tack foul, if any contact at all.
On the floor right now for the East, Thomas Golia, Chris Shalvoy, Kevin Snyder, Chris Rose, and looks like that's Joe Gohegan.
Snyder, 80% free throw shooter.
And he makes it true. High scoring first half, 34-32 with 7:44 left to play. Clarke, wide open again.
This time he just splashed the net from 24 feet out. You cannot leave Clarke wide open, especially how hot he's been this half.
That is his spot, I tell you. If they win this tournament, he should, instead of cutting the net down, he should try to cut off that spot of the floor and take it with him, because he has owned that spot today. Answering with another three with a man in his face is Shalvoy, and Williams will take a timeout. Down by 2 with 7:14 to go, a 30-second break here.
Beautiful shot by Shalvoy.
I can pretty much guess what Paulson's going to want to talk about here. Something about maybe not forgetting to cover Kino Clarke out of the perimeter.
Certainly true.
I'm a guess. I haven't coached it above, like about the 6th grade level, but that's what my instincts tell me we should do here.
I've never played organized basketball, but that would be my instinct as well. Just from watching enough TNT, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, all those. Great analysts there. I mentioned earlier how Division III, the NESCAC is certainly one of the oldest conferences in the country on any level, and their academics weigh so much into it. And there's been talk, I don't know if you saw this New York Times article a few days ago,
absolutely, yes,
about just the exponential growth of Division III and talk about starting Division IV or Division III AA, and maybe we can talk about that next halftime.
Yeah, I actually talked with the commissioner of another conference about that very topic last night, so we can talk about that if there are ever any breaks in this game, which there haven't really been. Been pretty back and forth, up and down action. Russ Martin with a nifty reverse layup going around Gohegan for 2.
Good job by Martin establishing presence, using his 220-pound frame to fight through there.
Martin, 16.4 points a game, leads the Bantams, 54% shooting from the floor. Golia with the basketball out there, guarded by Clarke. Now on the near wing, 3 for Rose. Airballed it.
It's surprising because Chris Rose is usually an excellent shooter.
That's got to be a tough end to shoot against, though, and there's a 3 for Patrick Martin that doesn't fall. Clarke, baseline jumper, the putback's good. The lead up to 6, but this is that's the open end of the gymnasium where the back wall is probably about 50 feet behind the glass. I can see where it'll be tougher to shoot at this end of the floor.
Because LaFrac Gym with the wood panel walls, and then there's a little light coming from up top, it does make it difficult for the shooters.
That's Gohegan with the basket. And the odd thing is that's the end that Amherst chooses to shoot at in the second half. So they've taken what could be a liability and tried to make it into a positive for them. Clarke coming off a screen. Not the easiest three-pointer in the world, a little bit off balance, and Gohegan collects the board. It's Three in the corner. That is Snyder, and Snyder for three.
Snyder wide open. This time he converts on the wide open look. Patrick Martin will bring it up slowly. Timeout called. So again, continuing this conversation, I keep bringing this topic up because...
Yeah, sure. It's, Division III has definitely gotten large. It's gone from about 320 schools maybe about a decade ago now to in the 420 range. It's hard, when there's so many schools just to find common ground among all of these various institutions with lots of different traditions and backgrounds. The NESCAC deeply rooted in Division III, other conferences like the Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, Northwest Conference, American Southwest came over from the NAIA in the last decade or so, and they have a completely different tradition and way of doing things. And it's been, a learning process, basically. The groups kind of adjusting to each other, and I kind of hope that they will find enough common ground to keep the group together, even though it's not going to be able to get much larger than the 425 that we're at right now.
And there's always that question of academics versus athletics.
Russ Martin, baseline jumper falling away, no good, but an offensive rebound. Division III has made some strides in that as well. They've instituted some financial aid restrictions or auditing, that sort of thing. Put back good there by Kino Clarke, who has had a great first half here since coming back off the bench about 8 minutes ago.
And then there's some schools in Division III that'll offer, let's say, 6 sports. And then you have all the NESCAC schools which offer over 30 sports per school.
Well, actually, the minimum is 12. You can't be in Division III as a co-ed school without offering 12 sports. But, as a single-gender institution, you could get away with as few as 6. And I think that they may bring the minimum up to 14. That may set the bar a little higher, make it a little less attractive for NAIA schools to come over. And a deep three for Chris Rose.
Chris Rose with the air ball before. This time just sinks that three. And the NESCAC is certainly one of the best examples of how you can balance academics and athletics, known primarily for its academic reputation. All the schools ranked in the U.S. News and World Report.
And getting tangled up, Kevin Snyder and Kino Clarke. And Snyder's going to get whistled.
And Williams, for the last 7 years, they love to talk about this.
Yes.
Very proud point for them is they've won the Sears Directors Cup as the best athletic school in Division III 7 years in a row.
Patrick Martin inbounding under his own basket. Russ Martin, nice left-handed move. Can't get it to fall, though. Out of bounds, and it will be Williams basketball. All tied up at 43 with 4:01 to go in the first half.
Trinity at 8 fouls, Williams at 6, so each foul from now on go to the line.
I don't know what a Division IV would look like. If the NESCAC goes into Division IV, there may not be a national championship in Division IV. There's two factions in almost everything as a floater rattles home for Chalvoy. One of them is regional competition versus national championships, and national championships. That faction holds by far the majority. There's as Patrick Martin pull-up jumper goes in. There's red shirts versus no red shirts, and no red shirts has tipped the balance in its favor over the past 5 years or so. Those are no longer permitted. That's about a 60-40 or a 70-30 split right now. There's the spring practice for football, fall practice for baseball, stuff like that, called the non-traditional season. That's split that's a pretty big split in Division III right now. I expect Division IV would probably not allow fall baseball and things like that, or spring soccer, spring volleyball.
There are issues with a Division IV that it's been Division I, II, and III for so long. Creating Division IV seems to have that stigma of, are they on a lower level?
Right. Who wants to be known as the team that couldn't hack it in Division III, so to speak?
Yeah. So that's where the talk of Division III AA's come in.
I could see, the biggest thing about this is Russ Martin airballs a three-pointer, is that there are going to be conferences that are going to be split straight down the middle. Maybe the NESCAC all wants to stay in Division III. That's very possible, but I could see some of the other conferences that are leading this charge, like the North Coast with Wittenberg and Worcester,